So this is the props that I used during that crash. Now I have some extra props in my DJI backpack, and so immediately afterwards I noticed some damage on it. So I landed the quad, took the props off, put them in this case that I 3D printed, and put some new ones on. And so this is what the props look like. We can pop them out. And this was on the front. So if you take a look at the quad, you have the 4 points. We have this one right here on the top left, and I think this one had the worst amount of damage. You can see that it actually hit the wingtip. That red is just from this right here scratching or tapping against this, sliding, grazing it, however you want to put it. And so that hit it there. There's some just scuffing, some dirt that's just caked on here. That's easily removable. There was really no damage to the quad whatsoever, just the props. And I believe there's a very significant reason why there is no damage to the quad other than the props. But anyways, for this blade in particular, there is a lot bad with it. So you can see that it's totally been eaten up. The dirt is caked in it. It's not focusing, but there is so much dirt on it. There is a lot of breakage of the actual fin. And we can see right here, the fin has a bunch of chips inside of it. That is not just the paint that's scratched off, that's the actual chipping of the plastic itself. So same thing with this side. I believe, again, this one is the worst damaged. You can see it on the other underside too, that the prop's not fully straight right here. As it is right here, we can see that it's like a wingtip, and this one, well, there's no tip on it. This one still has a tip, but this one looks like it got the worst. So when this one was spinning, it probably hit the ground first, this one right here. And the theory behind it would be this one hit first. It looks pretty bad. I would say this one's the worst. So it must have been spinning like this. So this one would hit, and then this one hits. And the quad leveled itself out, as you can see in the video. It like brought itself back up after that hit. Of course, I used the elevator, but surprised it didn't tip over, flip. It looked like in the video it might have done a small like rollover. And again, I know exactly why the quad was not damaged in that. But I think it did a small rollover because of just how it looked in the video. And also because the back blades were a little bit damaged when I think only the front ones should have caused damage. So this is the front right, or the front left. Now the back right is going to be this one. And we can see that this back right one, it didn't suffer that much damage. There is a scratch right here, and that is actually a scratch, not some dirt. The paint's chipped off here. It's a little bit chipped at the edges. This one looks like mostly dirt, except along here. These are definitely scratches, probably because of the rocks. So I believe the rock scratched it. However, I'm excited about this one. This one looks basically untouched. A little chip right there. And if we look at the other side, well, there is actually more chipping right here. But actually, that looks to be just dirt. So there's just a single chip right here, and I believe it's mostly just the paint that flaked off. This one suffered the worst. This one looks okay. So those two are done. Now we can look at the other ones. This one right here that we're about to look at next is going to be the bottom front right. So it will be this one right here. So looking at this one, well, it is not too bad. We can see that it didn't suffer that much in the way of damage. And that's going to be the same for this last one as well. That was in the back. So this one's in the back. You can see a little scratch right there, but definitely not as bad as this first one that we looked at. Or actually, wait, this is the first one that we looked at. I can tell because of all the chips and the dents in the blade. So that one's the first one we looked at. That one's definitely suffered it the worst. Now, the reason why I believe that the quad was totally fine was because of this bumper guard that I have on it. And I'm going to be going into this in much more detail later on. But this, if you take off this gimbal protector, it protrudes out from the quad, besides the blades. So that's why I believe the blades were damaged. These are fresh, brand new blades. DJI OEM, they're brand new out of the box. I replaced them right after got into that crash with this one. But for this, we can see that the legs are totally fine. There's just some scratches and scuffs on them, a little bit here, some dirt that just got brushed on here. I believe this is okay because of, again, this cover. Now, when the quad was flying, I was turning it like this, and that is why this one got the most of the hit, because I believe it went down like this. So hit like this and probably hit like this, and then it did a rollover, I'm assuming, before it leveled itself out. Now I did get, there's no damage on here, but there's definitely a lot of dirt right here and right here. I have this cover for the battery, and we can see the bottom is a little bit scraped up. I believe this also helped protect it as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely feel better having it on, knowing that I probably significantly hit the at least bottom of this quad hard, because the front two were really dirty, and this was really dirty afterwards. So I'm glad I hit this protector. This protector, I'll go into it more in detail later also, but it just slides on the battery, protects it really nicely. You can still power it on and everything. And so that is it for the first crash. It totally works fine. It flies afterwards. I flew it for another like 10-20 minutes, and it was totally good. I don't know if I necessarily needed to change the props, but you know, I had an extra, so might as well fly with fresh props always, right? And those can be just used as a backup. And so that is it for this DJI crash. Hopefully I learned better to actually use the elevator next time and practice a little bit more.